Welcome to Music with Dee. I'm your host, Dee Luna. I'm a singer-songwriter from Australia, and I'm just here to shoot the shit about music and music-related topics. So I just want to say thank you for joining me for my very first episode, which is called 3 Legendary Concerts That Shaped Me. I've got to say, as a human being and as a musician particularly, every concert I've ever been to has shaped me in some form or way. I guess a lot of early concerts I went to definitely made me want to pick up a guitar. There's something about watching music live that you just can't get from listening to an album, and you especially can't get from streaming. It's just amazing, the atmosphere, the smells, taste. I mean, there's nothing that beats it. Nothing that beats that bass rattling your soul. There's no feeling like it. I guess my first pick, well, let's just say we're talking legendary status right now. And this is going to show how old I am, but that's okay. I was only a child at the time, a mere grasshopper. But my dad took me to see INXS in 1990 at the Kuranda Amphitheatre in far north Queensland, Australia. Now, anybody who's been to this region probably knows about the Kuranda Amphitheatre, or at the very least knows about Kuranda. So it's just this beautiful rainforest village, and the amphitheatre, it's just a very unique experience. It is an amphitheatre in the rainforest. It is absolutely beautiful, and with the lights at night, the whole experience actually is quite incredible. I've been to quite a few concerts up there in that venue, and every single one is memorable. Just off the top of my head, I've seen the John Butler Trio, I've seen Silverchair, I've seen Wolfmother. I mean, the list goes on, but some amazing acts have come to the amphitheatre in Kuranda. INXS, of course, being no exception. I feel really blessed to have seen Michael Hutchence in his glory. It was actually quite incredible. I was only very young, but I remember so many details. I remember, like, it's almost so vivid. Like, not many memories from my childhood are this clear, but it must have been so impactful. It must have been such a significant event that it's imprinted on me for life. I guess, musically speaking, it just blew my mind. I mean, I was only a little kid. I didn't have a lot of experience listening to music, or definitely not live music particularly. I guess I listened to pop. It was 1990, maybe I listened to like Madonna or something. But up to that point, you know, I hadn't ever experienced anything like that. So my dad took me there. There was a heap of alternative hippie types, and of course a lot of just rock fans. It was amazing. At the time, 1990, I'd say INXS was probably one of the most recognised Australian bands, particularly overseas in America and in Europe. They blazed the path for many bands to come after them, but they were one of the few original bands that broke through and became worldwide recognised. So that's such an achievement. You know, those guys, they came up with some very catchy pop songs, didn't they? I guess my best memory from that is Michael Hutchence. I mean, I left there as a kid just like going, I want to marry Michael Hutchence. And of course, I went on after that to listen to all of their albums. I was a fan at a very young age. I was very impacted by it. I can remember him being very overtly sexual in his performance, and I'd never seen anything like that before, so it was very like edgy and stuff for me as a little kid, you know. I was just into it. I was fully in the moment, like more than I have been as an adult at a concert where there's perhaps been, you know, alcohol or other influences. As a kid, that was a pure experience, you know. I was just there in the moment. It was amazing. I remember smelling Mary Jane for the first time as it was being passed around the audience. Because this was a very long time ago, it was I guess a sort of open environment, outdoors. Everyone was having a good time. And as a kid, that was just a big party. I couldn't believe it. It was the best thing ever. So after that, I was obsessed with music. I'm not gonna lie. That moment changed my life, and I went on to pretty much listen to music every day of my life without fail after that moment. The next band I want to mention that shaped me as a concert, I'm going to say Silverchair. I mean, I've seen a lot, so I've got to be really picky. I can only choose 3, otherwise this episode will be way too long and no one will listen till the end. I chose Silverchair and I chose Across the Great Divide. And the reason I chose that was because it was just such an amazing experience. Oh my God. So funny story. I bought tickets to go and see it. And this was back in the day where, like, you lined up. And if it's sold out, it's sold out kind of thing. So I lined up. I woke up early hours of the morning and I went and camped on the street and lined up to buy the tickets and everything. And then they ended up announcing a second date because they sold out so quickly. It was, in case you don't know, it was Powderfinger and Silverchair, and the Across the Great Divide tour was actually, I'll read an article that was put out at the time. It's on Wikipedia. The Across the Great Divide tour was a concept tour by Australian alternative rock bands Powderfinger and Silverchair in 2007. The tour featured concerts in 26 towns across Australia and multiple shows in New Zealand. According to Powderfinger, the frontman, Bernard Fanning, the aim of the tour was to show that both bands are behind the idea of reconciliation. Both bands aimed to increase awareness of the efforts of the Reconciliation Australia to reduce the current 17-year gap in life expectancy between the average Australian life and that of Indigenous Australians. There was a triple DVD set release, which I bought at the time. So yeah, it was, you know, for a good cause as well. And they went to heaps of different regional areas, like they went everywhere. I saw them in Townsville. And they made a new date, like I said, because they sold out so quickly. On the radio, they announced a meet and greet. So it was a competition, and if you entered it and won, you got to go backstage and meet and greet them. And runner-ups got like a free ticket to the next show, sort of thing. And I was walking through Bunnings and my phone rang, so I've answered it, and it was the radio station. And I was like, in that moment, I'm like, oh my God. Oh, but no, I won the runner-up prize, which was a second night of awesomeness. So I won tickets again to the next night. So I had tickets for 2 nights in a row. I mean, I was like, yeah, I can do this. I can do it. So the first night, it was pretty epic from what I can remember. I think, I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I think the second night was probably better as far as Silverchair goes. The first night, I think it felt like maybe Daniel Johns was a little bit out of it or something. I don't know. I mean, like, no judgment from me. I was off my face, so I have no judgment at all. But honestly, I think the second night is the standout one for me. On the second night, though, it also stands out because afterwards I went to the casino and did a bit of gambling, and so did the boys from Silverchair. So on the second night, I got to meet very, very, very briefly Daniel Johns. I didn't feel brave enough to ask for a photo because he didn't seem like he wanted to engage, so I left that. I met Ben, the drummer, and he let me take a photo and stuff, and that was really cool. We were just like in the wait, like the, I don't know, corridor somewhere. Took a photo. He was pretty friendly. And then I also met Paul Mack, and he was super sweet, like really, really cool guy actually. I got a photo with him. Hopefully I can find it, and I'm gonna make this on YouTube available, so if I can find the photo, I'll put it up. I definitely don't have the photo with Ben anymore. I've looked for that one. It's so like weird, but it was a long time ago, let's be fair. I have seen Silverchair on other occasions. Again, at the Kuranda Amphitheatre in 1996, I saw them. I have limited memories of that one. Wow. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I was impressed. I'm pretty sure I was blown away by it, but yeah, don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs, especially if you want to remember concerts. The last one I want to mention, this one's kind of a funny story as well. Well, not funny. I mean, it's a typical story. You would have heard this one 1,000 times. But anyway, Guns N' Roses were coming to Townsville. It was 2010. So in 2010, they came with Korn supporting them. Now, I grew up when nu metal exploded. You know, some of my favorite all-time bands are nu metal bands, and all from that sort of time frame and that scene, you know. And Korn is just one of those legendary bands. I mean, there's no one else like them. You know, they'll always stand out. They'll stand the test of time, basically, particularly from that catch of bands from that era in that genre. Of course, being Guns N' Roses, we waited for so long. I mean, so long. So fucking long. I think, honestly, the concert didn't start. It was like an hour and a half or something late. You know, Axl Rose was doing his usual lateness. That's apparently quite famous or infamous now. And the funny story attached to this is my chiropractor at the time. I was bitching and moaning about Guns N' Roses being so late on the stage, and he was like, oh yeah, he was having an adjustment. I was adjusting him. That's just so rock and roll, man. But honestly, on that night when Korn took that stage, it did not fucking matter. Nothing else mattered. By like 3/4 through, I was busting to go to the toilet, but I was like, nah, I'm not leaving this mosh pit. And I stuck it out right till the end, and I have, yeah, had my brain melted. My brain melted into the mosh pit. They were everything I ever wanted or dreamed in imagining I would see watching Korn live. It was amazing. I mean, I've put them in my 3 legendary because the energy and the power, the vibe that was just emanating from the stage and throughout the festival or the event at the time was just incredible. It was like sizzling in the air kind of energy, you know. So that's why I've added them as number 3. Yeah, my 3 top picks for legendary bands that shaped me in some form or way. I think, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other bands I would love to add to that list. And even bands that I've just enjoyed recently. I might as well just do a shout out, because a band I've seen recently that I really enjoyed was Wax. Wax is a Brisbane-based punk rock band, and I loved it. It was, again, it's about the energy and that feedback between the audience and the artist. You know, when that artist picks it up and they run with it, it's a good show. But anyway, that's it. That's all I have for my very first episode. I'm planning on interviewing some cool people and I guess doing some reviews. I'm also going to dissect some of my music. I've recently released a song called Dissolve, and it's of course across all the streaming services. Basically, I think I'll do that for my next episode. I'll dissect it. I did an international collaboration for that one, so I have all the pieces. I did it through air gigs, so I guess that's my next episode. My international collaboration on air gigs. So there you go. Stay tuned for that one, and I'm excited to do this and be with you. Thank you very much for joining me.